You're watching Force 13's live streaming service. Threat to Madagascar increasing from this Invest 94S moving west. And now the latest around the wide world of tropics. Tropical Weather Bulletin for January the 9th, live. So this threat is obviously increasing from this potential tropical cyclone, which is starting to get better organised, although still lacks a proper circulation. Its northern side currently letting it down. 35 miles per hour is its wind speed, and it is currently moving in a westerly direction at a decent pace. That's going to speed up a little bit as it gets closer. Well, first of all, though, look at the Atlantic, and things are looking generally quiet with 143 days until the hurricane season. That number's going to tick down quicker than we can imagine, but across the Atlantic, things are looking rather quiet. Moving towards the Eastern Pacific, and one of our hot topics tonight, of course, is the California wildfires, which are still raging on and increasing in size, actually. But in terms of the weather, things are looking generally quiet in the area. You can even see some of the smoke on our map there, as well as some storms and general weather going on towards the coast of Mexico. In the Western Pacific, you can see several thunderstorms growing and expanding around either side of the Philippine Islands, off the northeastern part of the Philippines there. A few storms and a secondary area in the South China Sea. In the North Indian Ocean, things are looking quiet right now, with just a few little storms going on in the Bay of Bengal and a few more towards the equator in the Arabian Sea near the Maldives. In general, though, no real land areas being affected by significant storms. That would be thunderstorms. In the southwest Indian Ocean, we've obviously got this area of interest, 94S. It's a 90% chance, so nearly a certainty now that it's going to develop, and it does look like it will be at least a moderate tropical storm by the time it arrives on the northern tip of Madagascar. Additionally, that 50% as well near Christmas Island to the southeast, we're watching that one as well, could spin up briefly. And now 30% chance that we're giving for the South Pacific, this system off Fiji, just might pull a funny one for us there and could briefly develop into a tropical cyclone. We've got to keep tabs on that one too. So that was the pre-recorded part of tonight's Tropical Weather Bulletin. I know we dropped off a cliff with the music there, but here we are now live in the studio, and this is Force 13 Live. We're here for the hour to talk about everything that's going on around the tropics, but also everything else that has been going on in the world of weather, because there has been a mighty lot that we've been missing in the last few days. At the moment, you can see quite vividly the view from California, where there are some really serious wildfires going on. Obviously, the Palisades wildfire is the one that most people know about, now up to 15,000 acres. And you can see the fire signature on this satellite imagery there, just along the coastline. A quarter of Los Angeles County is currently without power, and over 1 million across the state of California also lost power. So a very serious situation has been unfolding there for the last couple of days, and it will continue into tomorrow as well. Well, my name is Nathan Foy, and I'm joined by a team with me as always tonight. We have got Maury, Samuel, and Justin, and they're all over there in the background. Hello there.
Hello.
And
Good evening.
Maury's got a camera there that we're just looking at briefly. This is in Santa Monica, I'm pretty sure, is it? Or maybe it's a different place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, this is right in Santa Monica. I don't know what exactly this is. It looks like an oil refinery, maybe. But I did see some people out here for a moment there. So few frames. I just hope that isn't the case for the rest of Santa Monica.
You can clearly see from that viewpoint that low-level smoke that is being, shot out towards the southwest at this point off the coast there. So that's another viewpoint of what's going on. And show us, if you can, one of those other cameras that we were looking at earlier I know you're navigating around there. We'll come back to. Oh well, there's another one view there. We'll come back to it in a second, though. Oh, there's another area of interest. But let's actually take a look at these images whilst I just get some more images of the fires. We're going to be sort of like dueling up on all of the coverage of everything tonight. And apart from that, there's also really cold weather as well over large parts of the rest of the United States and over here in Europe as well. Coldest night of the winter so far here, currently at 23 degrees Fahrenheit. But I'm going to dig out a picture that I think Justin shared a little while ago, and you'll know which one I'm referencing, Justin, before I show it.
Yep.
But the extreme fire picture here, look at that. Where was that? Do you remember?
This was in Topanga Peak in California.
Wow. What an insane picture that is. Just a snapshot of what was going on there earlier. And you said that new fires were being started ahead of that line as you were watching it.
Yeah, and actually with these winds, which, by the way, before I even mention what the winds are doing to these fires, actually, where the heck did I see it? Kirkwood Ski Resort, which is at Lake Tahoe in California, recorded a wind gust of 206 miles per hour.
Yeah.
Which,
Really?
I'm going to just get this out of the way now. Pretty sure Mount Washington has a little competition with the strongest wind.
Well, yeah.
Anyways, that's besides the point. That's not the topic of conversation right now. The main focus is winds, well, in most areas, obviously, of not that magnitude, because, Kirkwood Ski Resort is higher up in elevation. But, anyways, winds of this magnitude are carrying the embers from the fires, and the embers are easily landing on dry ground miles away from where the actual fire, like the original fire is. And those embers, on extremely dry ground, are igniting new fires, as we saw earlier with the Viewline fire outside of Simi Valley.
Yep, so tons of images that we've been looking at here, and it's already caused a fair bit of devastation. That is such a weird view of the smoke there, Maury. That was over a little time lapse. So yeah, we're trying to keep on top of several things at a time. Let's show you, well, that is spaghetti models, but let's show you the forecast actually from Meteo France about this area of interest, which they've actually gone ahead and called it a tropical depression here this evening, or early morning as it is local time. They've called it a depression. I'm really not convinced. The northern side is struggling on the imagery. On ASCAT earlier. And on the satellite imagery, the convection looks like it toppled again during the course of this evening. So I'm not very convinced that it's actually there yet. But look at that forecast.
Hey, Nathan.
Yep.
I actually just pulled up the satellite image of 94S.
Yep.
Cloud tops are currently -80 to -90.
Oh, has it gotten better again? Well, we'll look at that in a second.
An absolutely giant convective burst is ongoing right now.
It's been having that pattern for a good while. It's been on again, off again. Well, but there's the forecast. In 2 days' time, they're calling for that to become a hurricane equivalent cyclone. And there it is, squeaking northwards just a bit before arriving in Madagascar. Curious forecast this, because an earlier forecast of theirs actually had the storm peaking on the other side of Madagascar, the far side. And once again, you can see that Mayotte is in the cone, so we're quite concerned about that, because obviously we know what happened last month with Cyclone Chido. And obviously they'll want to be spared from any further impact. However, the storm does weaken substantially, but it may strengthen again as it moves back down, dips further down into the Mozambique Channel. Of course, as always on our tropical weather bulletins, we'll have a proper look at the models a little bit later on. Justin's really having not a very good night by the sounds of things.
Yeah, my allergies are just going insane right now. They have been all day.
So there we go again. Look at this latest imagery, and again, That is a huge convective burst that's happened over a very short period of time there on Invest 94S. That is the one that we're obviously tracking the most. But let's have a quick look at some of the other systems that are active right now. And this is, here we are, a system over Fiji. That's the 30% that we're talking about. And looking at that convection, it is actually swirling around a little bit, around possibly
Yeah, tiny little convective floor, yeah.
Common center there, just off the eastern tip of, I forget which one's which. I think it might be Viti Levu, but it could be Vanuatu. Those two main islands of Fiji. The northern one, it's just off the eastern coast, slowly moving southeasterly, and 30% chance could be a brief spin up there. It's actually the deepest of the areas of interest that we're currently watching right now at an estimated pressure of 999 millibars. And there's an infrared look at the same system there off Fiji. Still looking very, very disorganized. There hasn't been a satellite wind pass for a little while, but earlier it was showing very, very lopsided, and it's going to struggle with that over the whole course of its life, managing to stack itself properly and getting that circulation closed off. That's going to be this system's biggest issue. Now then, we alluded to this one earlier, we briefly saw it. This is the other Invest, and this one is, I forget what the tag is for this one actually. It might be 97S, yes. This is 97S, the one that's located between Christmas Island and Western Australia. Currently moving southwesterly a little bit. I wanted to show this one because it is looking good, and that's part of the reason why we've upgraded it to a 50% chance, because it might pull a fast one on us here and briefly develop into a tropical cyclone. Look at the infrared, and you'll see as well it's got a decent amount of convection around it, -80s in one or two hot towers there, but it is sheared on that northern side, and it's gonna have to get a bit of, obviously, that circulation going, but at the moment it is not managing that right now. But the main thing that we're tracking, of course, is that area of interest that has a near certain chance, if not already doing it here, it may well be on the verge of becoming a tropical cyclone. And Meteo France already believe it has. So we're toing and froing between several of these events tonight. Send in your comments and questions to us if you want to discuss this with us tonight as we're on the air. Start your message with Force 13 all in text. And of course, a little later on, we'll be looking at the models as well, which will take up a big chunk of time. But the top
Nathan.
Yep.
This is actually breaking news just now. The NFL is preparing a contingency plan that entails the Minnesota Vikings and Los Angeles Rams to play their wild card game at State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona on Monday night because of the wildfires burning near LA. Right now, the league continues to prepare to play the wild card game at SoFi Stadium in LA. And also, this was news earlier today. The NHL is also more than likely going to postpone the, I think it was a Friday night game. Let me double check this real quick. But the NHL is also preparing to potentially. Actually, no, never mind. They already did. Originally tonight, the Calgary Flames and the Los Angeles Kings. Yes, I know the irony. The Flames are facing the Kings. I know, but that's just stupid to me, in all honesty. But tonight's game between the Calgary Flames and the Los Angeles Kings, which was also supposed to be played in LA, has been postponed until further notice because of the fire.
Well, you can see why as we look back at this satellite imagery again, this natural color imagery showing the actual fire itself there, the Palisades fire on the western side, but also another one towards the east there. I forget the name of it now. And I see a third signature looking further north there as well. I'm not sure if that was a legit signature because it disappeared later on, but you've got those two main ones there. The eastern one, which is... is it Eaton fire, I think?
Yeah.
It's
By the way, from the Eaton fire, 5 people confirmed dead.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
And this is causing major problems. Obviously, huge property damage. I think I saw something like, was it 1,000 buildings damaged, or was that
Over
evacuated?
1,000, yeah.
That was actual damage. 1,000, which is quite a bit, and a lot of expensive real estate as well. Well, there you can see Maury is showing us the Eaton fire there, just north of Pasadena. And there's also the Hearst fire on the top end of that triangle towards the northwest too. Is that how long's that been going on for?
I think just started today. It just started earlier today.
Yeah.
Or last
Yeah,
night.
most of these fires on here are from the last 24 to 48 hours.
Yeah.
24 to 36, rather.
But
Hey, Maury, send me the link to that site, by the way.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
it's a good site. I think I had it on one of my resource
Actually, better yet, just post it in
lists.
live discussion.
Yeah, I don't want my resource list, I'm pretty sure. But obviously the Palisades fire is still the largest by a long, long way. It surpassed 15,000 acres and well on its way to 16,000 actually. A quarter of Los Angeles County without power, and well over 1 million.
Or DM me, that works too.
Well over 1 million customers in the state of California also without power today. People evacuating. Obviously, we've heard about thousands of those, and from what I'm hearing, local businesses are offering support a fair distance away to those who are evacuating, which is good news. So, if there's anything that anyone would like to report in the chat about this, as well as everything else that's going on around the wide world of weather, let us know. And of course, this big winter event as well. Right now, Justin, there's winter storm warnings over a large part of the south central United States today.
Yeah, and actually, as a matter of fact, this happened about 5-6 minutes ago. National Weather Service in Dallas-Fort Worth has issued a winter storm warning for Montague County, Texas. The rest of those areas are under a winter storm warning as we speak. And
yeah, it is all going on. There's been so much going on in the world of weather this year so far, and a ton of things that I've missed due to illness. There's been 2 flooding events here in the UK. There's been a snow event here as well. Possibly 2, depending on your definition. There's been blizzards across the central United States. As we all know, there was a severe weather event. There's the fires. There's another winter storm now. There was a big earthquake in Nepal.
yeah, which, by the way, last check killed over, I think, like 150, I think it was.
Gee. So there's been a flood of events, really, in the last few days. It's been pretty incredible and dreadful. We've been trying to keep on top of it. It's not been easy or manageable at all. But
yeah,
there we have it.
Bear with us, guys. Bear with us.
With winter storm watches extending further east as well. So they're obviously going to become warnings eventually. And I was looking at the... Yep.
Yeah, cold. By the way, I'm gonna explain this real quick.
You're looking at Florida?
Yeah, well, no, I was gonna just explain this in general real quick. Wind chill advisories, watches, or warnings now have been replaced with cold weather advisories, watches, or warnings. So, cold weather advisory is basically wind chill advisory. Same thing with cold weather watch and warning, etc., etc. They have cold weather advisories going all the way down to Lake Okeechobee.
Oh yeah. And I was looking at long-term modeling, Justin, and the cold is very much here to stay.
Yeah, I've been keeping an eye on long-term modeling as well. I'm gonna just look at this.
Well, the last GFS model had for January the 24th temperatures around Lake Okeechobee, in fact Tampa, down to 27 degrees.
Holy
indeed.
For that, 27 degrees for them, you're talking like 3 layers.
Yeah.
27 degrees up here in Western New York, you're talking about 1 winter coat and a pair of gloves.
About 23 degrees in New Orleans as well. and coastal
Good
areas
grief.
around Mississippi, Alabama, you know. That is really
Hello,
incredible.
Christian.
But obviously that is the GFS model at very long
Yeah,
range, and
There's the very, very long range GFS for me, Nathan. January 22nd, 15. January 23rd, 13.
yeah,
With a low of 10 and a low of 8, both lines.
yeah.
Hi,
So
Christian.
one of many things that are going on, and hello to you, Christian. I'm sure he's got a few things to
Hello.
show us as well. We'll talk to you in a minute. And I'm just going to go back to the Southwest Indian Ocean whilst we field a few more questions on the tropics. Sayheb Plays says, what are your thoughts on the potential storm that may landfall in New South Wales unwarned? Well, there was a small area of interest that did look cyclonic off New South Wales, Australia earlier today. Looked quite interesting. It will require further analysis. I wasn't convinced earlier in the day, but it may have improved. So I'm not sure what else I can tell you about that at the moment. W says, what name is next in the Southwest Indian Ocean? It's Dikelady. Dikelady. I have no idea how to pronounce that. But there we have it. And that will be the name given to this system that we're watching right now, which is already, according to Meteo France, is a tropical depression. I'm still not fully convinced about that yet, although admittedly it is looking better on satellite. Here is satellite imagery of it right now. And it definitely, with that big burst of convection, the latest frames, looking pretty decent. Christian, tell us about weather in your neck of the woods.
Well, in my neck of the woods, about I want to say about 4 o'clock-ish, it started to snow in my area, which was a huge surprise to many actually down in my region. Most of my friends don't really
Yeah.
follow the weather.
Yep.
And yeah, again, huge surprise to many. Obviously, I was stuck at work at the time for when it started. I managed to be let out of work an hour early.
Oh, yes.
Because obviously because where I work, it was just completely quiet because no one was coming to shop because of the weather.
Now, Southern England has a snow preparedness ability is like Houston,
0.
right?
A snow preparedness ability of 0.
Yeah, so that's
basically,
pretty
like,
much. When people always go about saying, "Oh, hey, it's nothing. We get 10 feet of snow a day up here in New York, Justin, or in Canada, or wherever."
And then let me put it this way: we get so much as half of an inch,
Right.
and the whole country grinds to a halt.
Right. Not the whole
And that was
country,
enough.
Christian.
Get
I'm here further north.
Here.
We're
Everyone's going about their day normally, when it's minus a few people driving like idiots. But you know,
True indeed.
that's just New Yorkers in a nutshell. Whether it's snowy, rainy, or sunny.
We're a bit more used to it
Okay,
here,
driver.
but you know.
Yeah, down here in the south where we barely
Definitely
get
not.
any. I can't even remember the last time we had a white Christmas, for example.
Yeah.
Our preparedness is basically 0, and it's so it was a huge surprise to many down here, and I mean I was stuck at work during most of it, but I was able to walk home in it. I took a whole bunch of video and photos if I am able to show you.
Oh, I'm sorry, Christian. We got some breaking news on the air right now. We actually have Dikelady. It has formed a tropical storm, according to Meteo France, as of the 4 a.m. advisory, which was just earlier. So they have actually gone ahead and named it as a tropical storm, and now expecting a hurricane equivalent landfall in northern Madagascar. This is breaking news during our tropical weather bulletin hour.
Can I just say, isn't this the same region of landfall where Cheeto made?
Yeah, pretty much. Cheeto was a bit further north.
Ah.
Well,
But
Cheeto is
still-
way further
it's
north
still
than Israel.
roughly the same area, though, right?
Yeah, likely not.
Especially in that cone. Look at that.
Yeah.
It actually, believe it or not, I just looked this up. It actually is pronounced Dikelady.
All right, I'm getting it right. That's good. Here's some models showing you the GEFS, the ensembles. what kind of track we might expect from this, and of course the Comore Islands still possibly within that, and Mayotte of course on the southeastern edge of that island chain, particularly vulnerable at the moment. Here's another model earlier, and I think that's just an update. There's one ensemble there still taking it to northern Mozambique, a very similar track to Chido, one particular ensemble, but most of them, and the ensemble mean takes it through the northern part of Madagascar, a good 100 miles or so south of Chido's passage there, because I don't think it actually made landfall. It was just clipped the northern tip of Madagascar, and then in this instance though, much more of a recurvature when it enters the Mozambique Channel, and from there it could become potentially a powerful storm if it does stay over all of those water areas. As we've been talking about on previous tropical weather bulletins, the temperatures over there are over 30 degrees Celsius, and as a matter of fact, on last night's was it last night? No, it wasn't on a tropical weather bulletin, but at some point during the day, one of the 12Z runs, I think, it actually had this storm reaching about 26 degrees south and a pressure of 934 millibars, which at that latitude would be the strongest cyclone in the southwest Indian Ocean at that latitude. So that is certainly a big deal. We will check in on the models just after past, and we'll take a proper look at everything there. But if you've just joined us, the breaking news here is that we do have our first named storm of 2025, and it is Dick-a-Lady. And I'm sure you're going to be hearing that a lot more in the coming days. Let's go back to some satellite imagery of it, and I'm just going to get some more and see if we can get a little bit of a better view. You'll hear me clicking a lot, sorry about that. But let's see if we can now take a look at this imagery. Looking up real close at this, the resolution isn't the best, that's the satellite I'm afraid, but there is that latest imagery of this system really starting to develop. It certainly spooked the authorities because they've gone and named it as a result, but I must say it is starting to look the part a little bit better on those latest images. So you just saw there 94S at the bottom. That is now Dick-a-Lady, and I assume they're going with equivalent of 40 miles per hour. And I would say it's not far from that. We put it at 35. It actually was detecting storm force winds earlier on when it didn't have the shape. But yeah, I could probably get behind that being a tropical storm at this point. Certainly, if not yet, then very soon.
And then which system is this on Ticos?
This was R12. It was the last one from December, because this system has been active if anyone remembers the December 31st tropical weather bulletin, that was that system that we had in the Australian region, near where that other system is right now actually, that we had at 60%. That it is that one, and that is still here now, over a week later, week and a half nearly now, still making that crossing. So very much Freddy Light, right, that we're looking at this time.
Only just now named and given a Southwest Indian name.
Yeah, indeed. Let's go over to Samuel, because we've not spoken to you yet. You're looking at the fires right now, and we are going to be talking about that as well. We have often been already. What's your take on it, and what you're looking at there? Little plan map there.
Yeah, right now, this is not a fully updated map. It doesn't have the full scope of the fires, but it does have a general idea of the largest fires that we have in the LA area right now. Obviously, you have the Eaton fire to the northeast of Los Angeles, which is affecting the Pasadena area. You have obviously the one not far from Santa Monica, the big one, the Palisades fire, and then you have the one north of San Fernando. I don't remember what that one's called, but I think that was originally called the Silvar fire, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, these, as of right now, none of these fires are contained, and they will continue to blow smoke and embers in the direction towards the southwest, mainly toward and especially with the Eaton fire. Despite the Palisades fire being the largest, I still see that the Eaton fire is threatening the most popular.
Yeah.
Is threatening the most populated areas right now. Especially considering and evacuate. I would not be surprised if evacuation orders start to get issued to the south here, to the south of California 134.
What are those color codes?
The yellows are evacuation warnings. The reds are evacuation orders.
Right.
And then the darker red, where the fire icons are, is the estimated fire perimeter.
Yeah, very dangerous stuff there. This is California. Power outages, water outages as well that we're hearing as well. I mean, the hydrants are out of water in some places.
Yeah, and they've not too long ago requested backup from surrounding regions for for resources and fire departments to help combat the flames. Now, the good news about the Santa Ana winds right now is that they are dying off just a little bit, but I do expect they will pick back up going into the overnight hours.
Right. And according to SPC, it was extreme. Is it still in the extreme category?
Yes, it is.
And
but tomorrow will be still going to be a critical risk. Not extremely critical, but still critical.
Yeah, here we are.
I honestly would not be surprised to see tomorrow upgraded in extreme risk as well.
It's off to my left, but it's critical for tomorrow at the moment, but we'll see how that changes. We've got first light over the other system that we're watching right now, and it's still looking better as well. This may well become a tropical cyclone shortly, looking at this imagery. This is 97S, which is well to the southeast of Christmas Island right now.
97?
Yeah, 97S. And it's between Christmas Island and Australia. It won't affect any land. It shouldn't last very long, maybe 2 or 3 days. But it does look increasingly like this might also become a tropical cyclone. Whether Bureau of Meteorology call it or not, Christian, what do you reckon?
Well, if they do call it, the next name I believe is Sean. Obviously, there's no telling if they will or will not name it. Obviously, in order to do it, they do their silly 3/4 gales rule.
Oh, yeah.
So who knows? There's probably a chance that it may not get named.
You've got some footage for us now as well, haven't you?
I do, yes. To bring the conversation back to what it was earlier about snow in the
Winter
south of
weather,
England.
yeah.
Yep. I'm again.
That going on.
This is my own footage when I was walking back home.
Oh, it's
from
Christian's
work.
own footage, everyone.
So as you can see, I mean, I should also clarify the snow had only just started settling by the time I left work, and obviously it had been snowing for several hours before then. So
And if you can't tell everyone, snow is a massive deal for the people in these areas.
and especially in my area because we hardly get any as is. I'm I'm wondering if because this is all water here. I'm like, where's all the ice?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, at the time of this, it was 1 degree outside, which is about 33, 34 Fahrenheit, if my estimations are correct.
Yep.
Yeah.
So there was no ice. It was all just snow and water.
What's your temperature now?
My temperature now, if you'll give me 1 moment to look at my phone, it is still 1 degree.
How? How are you at 34 degrees? We are at 22 now. 22 degrees here.
20. Oh wow, that really is chilly. Alright, yeah. So again,
Yeah.
so that it all settled on top of cars by then.
Southern England enjoying their little bit of snow there.
Enjoying our 15 minutes of fame.
15 minutes of snow. Very nice looking
exactly.
flakes though. Very pretty, Christian.
Oh
Very
yeah,
pretty.
I mean, very, very big flakes. Even I was surprised.
Yeah.
And again, I tried to get some up close to a light,
Cool.
because you can see more that way, evidently. Yeah, again.
And how much snow is on the ground at your place, Justin? Hey.
Last check, about an inch and a third.
An inch
Give or
and a
take.
third. Very specific.
Oh, well, 1.3 inches if you want to be technical. Because
We're just loading in.
National Weather Service only goes by tenths of an inch or so, not hundredths.
I wanted to show this imagery earlier. You can actually see it's gone dark over there in California now. It did have some better imagery on this panel earlier, but I forgot to show it in time.
My goodness.
So let's go back to another viewpoint. This is the one that I opened out the show with tonight. And you can see again in clarity there, especially those shadows drawing longer in those latest frames. That's pretty cool. But the fires themselves.
What part of Los Angeles is ablaze right now? Like, is it the north, the west?
The Palisades region, which is just to the northwest of Los Angeles and Santa Monica. It's just as you're leaving the city area. That's not close to
the airport, is it?
It's not dangerously close to the airport. Although it would be interesting, actually, planes flying in. If they're flying in from the sea, you're looking at some heavy smoke in that area. So I'm not sure what they're doing about flights.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if most flights are cancelled. Especially.
Yeah, I don't know the info on that.
Yeah, you'd have to ask our resident aviation expert Ethan on that front.
I mean, you could just go on Flight Radar and have a look, but
I could do that, but I can't be asked.
You can't be asked, apparently.
Yeah.
Excellent. So this is, we're just looking at Samuel's screen once again, everything that's going on there. And whilst we're just staying on there for a minute, I'll take a few more questions, and then we'll take a look at the GFS model for the next 16 days for everything that's going on. So, let's have a look. Scarlett says, how come Usagi peaked as a Cat 5 on a Force 13 stream when on the Tropical Weather Bulletins right before the year ended, Usagi was a Category 4 color? Well, I still have it on my records here as a Category 4. And is Chris a big fan of snow? Oh, yes, he is.
Well, I mean, if I can elaborate
Oh, you're
on that.
not, are you? All of a sudden, you're not.
Well, okay, listen to me. When it's falling and it's all pretty, then yes. But then when it's, when it's on the ground, it's settled, and you're driving in it, no.
Wow. You don't drive.
Well, okay, but I was in Michael Scott's car last Saturday after the snow chase because you dropped us off whilst we were streaming. That was a pretty risky drive, especially going down a hill with a 14% incline.
Ooh, 14% incline.
Yeah, and again, you can lose traction at any moment, basically, so you've got to be extremely careful.
Let's go to the model section of tonight's bulletin then. And, this is still up from when we were doing severe weather coverage. Let's just turn those off. So here is just want to show you temperatures across the US, first of all. Going into tonight, what's the coldest night you've had so far, Justin?
Let me pull it up. I actually have it marked down. Just give me a moment.
Well, whilst we are waiting, look at how far those temperatures go down in some places across the US tonight. Looking across the Mississippi Valley region, look at that falling to 4 degrees Fahrenheit, 2 in southern Illinois.
Happy New Year.
No. And in southern Indiana, getting down to about 4. Northern Kentucky down to about 1 in some spots there.
The coldest temperature I've had so far. Coldest temperature I've had so far this winter is 4 degrees on the 22nd of December.
And southern Ohio, they're falling just about a -1 tonight.
Ooh.
And also, speaking of December 22nd, that day also had the coldest high temperature so far this winter at 18.
And looking at Justin's area, you're looking at somewhere around 15 tonight.
Yeah, something like that.
Northern New York.
Single digits for along the hills and along the New York PA line, just south of me.
New York City around 22 tonight. Philadelphia around 19. Washington D.C. colder actually, around 15 or 16. So a very cold night in a lot of places. Where does the freezing line go down to? Well, it's large parts of Texas. Dallas
All
is
the way down to
hovering on,
Jacksonville.
yeah, Dallas hovering on the freezing line. New Orleans at
Good
about
grief.
36 degrees. And then all on that Gulf Coast area, you know, below freezing in a few spots there. And Jacksonville
But basically,
on the freezing line.
for those wondering, looking at this, the area shaded in pretty much the blues and purples are below freezing.
Yeah, that's pretty much how
Hey,
it
wow.
goes.
Wait, go back to Miami for a second.
51.
Wow.
That's quite a
53.
contrast across the state of Florida, there. I'll put it that way.
51 for Miami is freezing.
Yeah, it is quite cold, and
I'm just
I hope,
looking
Justin, I
at-
hope you're turning the weather gods on because I'm there in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I want
just
warm
wanna
weather. I
explain-
want 75 degrees day and night. Thank you very much.
I just want to clarify, like,
No,
the temperature
suffer.
difference between the Panhandle and Miami. Gee, wow.
Well, that does happen though.
Yeah, I know it happens, but it's just quite mesmerizing to look
I mean,
at.
it's Florida. Florida's just like New York. You could have all 4 seasons in a single day.
That's
Take
like
a look
Melbourne
at-
in Australia.
Tomorrow's highs down in Miami around 65 degrees. A lot of other places though. I mean, some parts of Texas there, especially Dallas area, not even getting above freezing.
Yeah, up here we're supposed to be in like the mid-20s tomorrow for the high.
About 23 is what we're showing here, and New York about
Remind me
30
to never visit the
degrees.
States whilst it's this cold.
Then look towards California, still holding on those usual temperatures. Should we look at dew point for California there? It's showing up a
You know, I would
weird
love
scale.
California's temperatures just without the wildfires.
This is a weird color scale because we never look at dew points, so I've never
What the heck?
configured this color scale. But let's look around the Los Angeles area. Those dew
Yeah,
points
then I might
right
have
now.
I might have to create you a color scale for dew point.
12 degrees
That'd be
Fahrenheit around the Palisades fire on the modeling right now.
Ooh,
it. Jesus.
wow.
And when you go into
What are
the
those
hilly
colors
areas-
what are those colors further north?
Yeah, well, much lower.
Oh wow.
And it actually is -7 in way further north. Obviously, it's a dry area anyway, but you know, really, really low dew points. Let's take a look
Oh.
at what it might be in 12 hours, though. And let's see
By
if
the
it
way, that-
improves at all. Not
That
really.
negative 40
Oh no,
that
look, it
negative
drops.
41 degree dew point in Santa Monica was a glitched out sensor, by the way.
Look at that, Justin. It drops north of Los Angeles tonight. Yeah, well, overnight
Good
tonight
Lord.
to -7 to -10
Wow.
in some areas
That's
there.
big.
And let's take a look 24 hours ahead. Around the Palisades area, it's up slightly to 16 or 17. Where that other fire was, I always forget the name. What was the name?
The Eaton fire.
Eaton fire. Still hovering around 0 or -1 Fahrenheit for that dew point. So again, very, very, well, bone dry conditions, clearly.
Yeah, that's not good for fire conditions.
Well, actually, Nathan, while you're on here, look at forecasted wind speeds. For
Well, we're going to get
areas
on
around
to
them.
winds, yeah, because obviously we're going to show the tropics now, but let's take a look at winds in this area first. And you can see in the initial interim, it's obviously the GFS, so it won't be very good resolution, but in some of these areas, it is at storm force, up and above 40 miles per hour. Looking ahead, it decreases a lot in the next 12 hours, which is good news. It gets quite calm, actually. And then the winds get up again in about 24 hours' time, although this time displaced a bit further east. So,
Realize that the storm be moving out of
Will
the
that be
Yeah,
will
so-
that be enough
so
to help
we've-
contain the wildfires?
Well, I don't know, but the worst weather conditions look like they're just about passing,
Good.
if we're talking winds. Anyway, we ain't got all night. Let's take a look at this whole period then. We're going to go basin by basin, showing the whole 16-day period. And obviously, first of all, we're going to look at our lovely old Atlantic, aren't we?
Yes.
Now, first of all, whilst the modeling's loading in, very big extratropical system there, east of Newfoundland.
That's still there, right? What's that pressure at right now?
Into-
I
I don't know
heard a
what the
couple of
pressure is
days
on
ago.
there.
Like last I heard a couple of days ago, what was it, like 953 or something?
And a few bomb cyclones blowing up there, but yeah, around 9:53 when that system hit Newfoundland on the 5th. But looking at the Atlantic, any nasty surprises? No. Very happy
No.
about that.
It's only January.
Yep, Eastern Pacific next 16 days. Any dreadful surprises? No, it's even more rare to have an East Pac storm than an Atlantic storm in the off season. Central Pacific, you never know, but it's not going to happen. Western Pacific, it's a little bit more likely here, but in the 16-day period, nope, nothing at all. North Indian Ocean, we can sometimes get systems here too in January, but the answer is, well, there's a weak little low there that tries to do something but fails, doesn't really get anywhere close. That was in the long range anyway. So, the more interesting parts. This, if you missed the breaking news before, is newly formed Dickalady, Tropical Storm Dickalady, and that, according to the latest GFS run, there it is, gathering momentum and pace, relatively small, moving in towards the northern tip of Madagascar. Strengthens a bit more. There it is, peaking as a Category 1 hurricane equivalent storm before it hits, and then it swivels southwards quite quickly, so that's good news for my yacht there, because it holds on, really hugs the coast of Madagascar all the way. Look at that, it manages to strengthen on its way out the western side of Madagascar, and there it is, picking up real strength. Category 3, holding on close to the coast there and strengthening further after it leaves. Again, this is similar to that run I was talking about, which had one of the strongest storms on record for that far south. And again, it's done something similar here. But what happens towards the end here? It's doing a U-turn. Oh no, it's stalling. And now it's turning left. It's going back. Oh my goodness. That is crazy. That's one of the craziest model runs I've seen. That's for the what might have been, I'm sure. My God,
Yeah.
did you see that?
Yeah, well, let's not forecast that yet.
That is obviously very long range, but crazy. I gotta tell you, absolutely crazy.
Speaking of what might have been, we still have yet to see the what might have been for the 2024 season.
We're still yet to see the actual season animations for most of them. Anyways, what happens later on in that run? Well, there's potentially a second system there moving towards Mauritius, but very weak. Now, the other system, which could well develop too, here it is. It only has a short window. There it is, and then the window slams shut. Off it goes. Later on in the run, and we're talking in about 10 days, 9 or 10 days time, a big system tries to get itself sorted out over the Australian region, over Australia, and actually, well, in the end, it's just a massive mess. Moves inland, dies off. Earlier runs, and this is what I was expecting to see, having not seen this yet, earlier runs had this system developing and then sweeping along towards the southwest there. Obviously, in this new run, it just goes straight inland and then obviously dies off as a result. Any thoughts on that, Christian?
What,
On me?
how far out was that?
Oh, that was quite far out.
Then that's not going to happen.
You can see what's left of this little system on the coast of New South Wales. Look at that. Dies off in a moment's
Ooh.
notice there.
I take it that's extratropical, if anything.
We're not sure, actually. Now, the Pacific, obviously very difficult to predict these ones because it's just a massive line and storms can often form along that line. So many little intricacies there on that line. The main system, though, is that one that's already starting to take shape off the eastern coast of Fiji. But it just struggles to get itself organized. And actually, it looks to me... Let's just watch that again. No, yeah, it is still this system here, but just really struggles to get that circulation going properly. And I'm not convinced it does. 30% we're giving it. Look on later, at the very end of that, another system tries its luck and actually becomes a tropical cyclone over French Polynesia, and then continues southeastwards and becomes a substantial cyclone. Quite a low, high latitude by that point as well. It goes way out there. It's still going. Oh my God. Towards the end of that run there, how far south is that? That is online with New South Wales. It's about 30 to 35 degrees south there as it's turning post-tropical, which is
That's quite a record.
quite uncommon for systems in the South Pacific. It's much more common in the Northern Hemisphere, of course. Elsewhere in our unusual areas, let's check the South Atlantic. Could there be? Nope. Blaine, there will not be anything there.
Blaine?
Yeah, because
Zeta.
he's always big on the South Atlantic system. Well, Zeta as well. Yeah, they're both at it. And the Mediterranean region, yeah, no. There's
Big fat lot of nothing.
big fat lot of nothing, but plenty of windstorms for Western Europe. I mean, getting buffeted by storm after storm there. Look at the size of that thing. I mean, it's not coherent, but at the end of that run, it's sort of like...
That fits in the gap between Iceland and Scotland.
It's
Jeez.
almost this whole size. That massive low-pressure system right there. But that is right at the very end of that range. So there we go. That's the models. Hope you enjoyed. Let's go back to the latest imagery of Dickalady, which is the new storm that has just formed. If you've just joined us, let's see if we can get some new imagery of this right now. And there it is. Huge convective burst. Look at that. Into the minus 90s in one or two spots. So really crazy. Let's see if we...
Can I ask a question?
Yep.
No.
How many?
Kidding.
Thank you. How many total named storms did 2024 have?
I don't know about named, but nameable, we had 86.
86. Okay, so that's below average then. Okay.
It is slightly below average. 92 is the average.
92. And then it always begs the question, how many will we have this year? No one knows.
Yes, well spotted, Christian. And
It's
now,
always the same question every single January, isn't it?
this Fiji system, let's just have another look at this one. A bit more convection blowing up there along that eastern tip of the northern island of Fiji. And again, you can see that on the infrared imagery too. And then looking again at this system that we've been watching, daylight breaking over 97S, I still think that is a potential candidate to become a tropical cyclone. Let's go back to Maury now, because we've not got much longer to run. So do you reckon we could have another look at some of these cameras?
Yeah. So there is this camera that's zoomed in on the Eden fire. This is one of the parts that has been kind of bursting with some flames. You can see this is on one of the mountainsides.
Yeah.
This is near Burbank, I'm pretty sure. So, then we have this, which also shows a fire there. That is more closely related to the Palisades fire. And that...
Are you sure? It didn't look like that.
It's in, but... Oh, yeah, you're right.
It's pointing to the other one.
Yeah, it looks like the other one. The other one is located around Verdugo Peak, and this is what it's looking like over there. You can see a bit of fire there and a bit of starts.
Yeah.
There also was a new fire in Simi Valley that I saw briefly, but it didn't look very large. Let me just look at that.
I believe it was described as a brush fire, wasn't it?
Yeah, here it is. I'm pretty sure this is what the fire is looking like, and you can see
there's a little
bit
bit going on that hill, yeah.
Yeah, so there is some fires going on in that region.
Yeah, so it's going to be another long night over there in Southern California, and very, very difficult conditions. After what I was hearing earlier is that some areas don't have the necessary water. However, there is some good news. We're seeing some significant return of power. At the start of this stream, or just before the start when I checked, they were about 1.2 or 1.3 million out of power. It's now down to 321,000, although I'm not actually sure if that is real, because one of the power outage monitors is out of, I assume, of power. So that's the irony there. I'm not sure what the actual situation is. So it may actually be that more are still without power there. So let's just hold out on that potential news, because I imagine it is suspect, and that there's still lots of power outages in those areas, and of course water. But obviously a lot of places have been completely destroyed by these fires in California. One of many things that we have been watching over the course of this tropical weather bulletin hour. All right, final thoughts from our team right now before we head away. What do you think tomorrow's going to bring us?
Well, I am still concerned about the potential expansion of the evacuation zones tomorrow, especially considering how volatile the conditions will continue to be for the fires, especially with the Palisades and Eaton fires in the LA area. Anyone who is out ahead, anyone who is just south, even if you are not in an evacuation zone, if you are to the south of those, especially the south and west, especially including areas such as Glendale down to the southern parts of Pasadena to South Pasadena, and getting potentially towards the northeastern parts of the city proper, I would consider continuing to monitor the situation and get ready to evacuate if they start expanding evacuation warnings and evacuation orders down to the southwest.
All right. Well, I hope the stream has been of use tonight, and in future we will have more live tropical weather bulletins, especially for active tropical cyclones, as it appears that we're going to get one, or we've already got one. The Kaledi having formed this hour. If you missed the news, that is our latest development, first tropical cyclone of 2025. And that means that my outro tonight will be wrong, because I did it before the stream started. But subscribe to the channel for more updates, and please support us and what we do. Let's head over and take a look at what on this day. I can't even speak. January the 9th, 1980. We had a massive cyclone, Cyclone Amy, which was a Category 5, about to make landfall in Western Australia near 80 Mile Beach. We also had Tropical Depression Flora in the open Indian Ocean. And what was left of Paul turned post-tropical, large extratropical cyclone by that point, down through the Cold Sea. Amy, a very powerful storm, looked like an arrow replacement cycle there, or at least concentric eye walls on the local radar. We are code blue 94S, which is now Dick-a-Lady being the source of it. We are now up to one storm for January the 9th, which means that all this is wrong. The first name in the Atlantic is Andrea. In the Eastern Pacific, it is Alvin. And in the Central Pacific, the next name on list 1 is Iona. In the Western Pacific, first name this year will be Wutip. And in the North Indian Ocean, it's going to be Shakti. Feels like a while since we had a North Indian Ocean storm. Hey, so, well, in the Southern Hemisphere, of course, next up in the Australian region is Sean. In the Southwest Indian Ocean, the next name now will be Elvis. And in the South Pacific, it will be Pitta. Good night. We'll see you again tomorrow.
Become an Ultimate Fan today.